Things to order. If you would please rise and say with us the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. It will accept public comment at this time. Is there anyone here to offer public comment? All right, seeing no one here at this time, we're going to go to our minutes from our Tuesday, February 18th meeting. Is there a motion to approve them?
Motion to approve the meetings from the Tuesday, February 18th meeting.
I will second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. All right, heading into resolutions. Margaret, do we want to give some context for this next item, perchance?
Certainly.
Okay.
The Center County Hospital Authority has approached the Center County Board of Commissioners for authorization through a resolution process to seek refinancing of bonds. And with us today, we have Tom Schrack, the attorney for the Hospital Authority, and the new CFO.
Brian Roach.
So please welcome, and Tom Charles, Executive Vice President from Mount Nittany, who can actually walk you through some of the highlights of this resolution, which is in front of you.
Morning, thank you, and thank you, Commissioners, for having us on the agenda today. Yes, I'm Tom Schrack. I'm the solicitor for the Center County Hospital Authority. The purpose of this resolution is to satisfy a requirement under the Municipal Authorities Act that we seek the Commissioner's approval of this bond issuance to find that it's desirable for the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the community. This is, as Ms. Gray had said, a refunding issuance. We're going to be refunding existing bonds that were issued in 2012. The authority has approved this issuance on February 13th. And so we do have a closing date planned for next Wednesday. So we were hoping that we could seek your approval today of this resolution. And I'll defer to my colleagues here if they have any further comment.
Brian Roach, relatively new to Mount Nittany Health, 2.5 months. I'm glad to be here, and thank you for your support.
Sounds great.
So we would love to learn a little bit about what the projects are being used for, some of the amounts. We do have it in the resolution here, but if there's any context you could provide or give to us on these, that'd be most appreciated.
Well, this is just straight refinancing.
Just
There's no new
refinancing.
money part of this. It's all refinancing for cost savings.
It'd be kind of like what we did in 2017 when we saved about $830,000. I'm assuming you're saving even more with $75 million.
So maybe just, and again, just in terms of the context, what was this money used for?
The initial issuance was used for, good question, I don't think we have that information. I don't think it was an initial project. Do you know, Brian?
Various projects throughout the medical center itself.
Would this have been part of the, we were talking about this earlier before the meeting started, would this have been part of the money perhaps that helped finance the new emergency department?
Yeah,
Could be.
Yeah, we've done a series of projects. I think this money was issued in 2012.
Yeah.
So we've done a series of projects since that time, the emergency department, the surgical services expansion. We've done renovations throughout the medical center. So it would have been used for a variety of projects that we've been engaged in over that period of time, all of which have been, added within the hospital.
That emergency upgrade was just phenomenal, and it really made a light year difference in the quality of care that you provide, so that's great.
We have just
been continuously investing in infrastructure upgrades and modernization across the medical center. That's really been a continuous plan, and these bond issuances have just helped us to really complete that work.
So our action on our agenda is to add to next week's consent agenda. Do we have any issues with approval today?
I would approve it today.
It sounds like we need to approve it today.
Let them sleep easier.
Yeah. We deal in what-ifs, unfortunately, as attorneys.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Is that what you're gonna make a
Yeah,
motion?
please, yeah, sure.
Okay, so I would move that we approve resolution number 6 of 2020.
I will second that.
Moved and seconded. In the future, I think one of the things that we look for is, for our process, we have typically a discussion at a board meeting, and then it goes to consent. So we're happy to accommodate this time, but in the future, we can maybe provide a longer runway for us just to be able to, just in case citizens have questions on it, we like to give them the opportunity to digest a little bit about what we're doing here. So, but in the future, if there's another one, we could maybe have that week built in. But it sounds like we're happy to accommodate this time and wish you the best with this refinancing on the 4th. So here, is there any further discussion or questions?
Well, yeah, how much actually are you saving? Do we have a rough number?
We do have a rough number. We refinance approximately $68 million worth of bonds, and given where interest rates are, we saved about $900,000 a year.
Nice.
Great. Please. Yeah. Any further questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay, all right.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Appreciate it.
All right, and on to a contract with our correctional facility.
So I'm going to ask if Kathy Brown, the director of Centerpiece, would join me, and Chris Schell, the warden from our correctional facility, for the next item. So before you this morning is a proposed memorandum of understanding between Center County on behalf of the Center County Correctional Facility and Centerpiece. This memorandum of understanding comes to you endorsed first by the Prison Board of Inspectors. The correctional facility and Centerpiece have worked collaboratively since the beginning of Centerpiece. The inception was in 1993. And both the correctional facility and Centerpiece share responsibilities in the provision of restorative justice programs. Since 1993, many changes have taken place. We've had leadership changes and best practice changes, and we thought, and the prison board thought, that it would be prudent to outline exactly the responsibilities of each entity here so that we were really clear about each other's commitment and responsibilities in a formal document. So I'm going to turn it over to the warden and to Kathy to highlight what the memorandum of understanding includes. So, Chris.
I think this really clarifies, since I came up here, of each entity's responsibilities, be able to identify what we're both responsible for, especially with returning citizens, just rehabilitation, give them some kind of vocabulary, vocationary trainings and so forth, and who's responsible for what part of that. I think it's been an up and down of whose responsibility. Now we can identify, streamline it, open our communication up much better than what it has been. I think it's been improved and so forth, and I think it's a great working relationship.
Yeah, as someone new to Centerpiece, I've never known anything but open communication, so it's been wonderful. And what this does outline, such as any financial responsibility we have for compensation for trainees' time, permissions that are required for various things, it just clarifies it.
We've had the opportunity as members of the Prison Board of Inspectors to listen to a lot of the dialogue and conversations that have occurred, and it's been a long process, shaped by Margaret's work, Chris's, and your predecessor as well, Kathy, and you
Yes.
finalizing this. So it's been a lot of work, and I think we're very excited to get this done and have this in place this year and in future years. So thanks for all the work done to get us to today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We do appreciate the work Centerpiece does from a reentry standpoint as well. Very helpful to our returning citizens.
It is definitely a cooperative effort with the correctional facility.
Our relationship goes back decades, so this is one of those things that it codifies what we've already been doing, and hopefully we'll even do it better, so that's fantastic.
Wonderful.
So with that, we entertain a motion.
Motion to add the MOU with Centerpiece, Inc. to next week's consent agenda.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final questions, comments?
Kathy Brown, what's your favorite radio? Does this maintain the status quo, or does this expand the program in any way?
The MOU does not necessarily expand it. It clarifies various things about it, though, as far as, especially for me coming in newer, just various permissions that we might need for things outside the normal conduct of business. And like I said, since I've come on board, I've had nothing but a very excellent working relationship with the individuals at the correctional facility, being the warden, Lorinda Brown. It's really been tremendous.
Hearing no further discussion or questions, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. The motion is carried. Okay, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, welcome up Natalie now for our human service items. Good morning, Natalie.
So I have before the board two different items, both of them on our behalf of we'll start. So the first one is our Human Services Block Grant Report. I came before you, I think, in November with that report for our fiscal year 2018-2019. And upon review by the department, we missed a client count line item. And so we needed to update what our community service is, the number of individuals that it served with that funding. So by doing any changes to our report, it needs a certification signature by the Board of Commissioners for that. So that's all that it is for that.
We look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve resubmission of the fiscal year 2018-2019 Human Services Block Grant Report.
I'll second that.
All right, been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
So this is a contract addendum with Skills. We are increasing our contract by $26,500 for our mental health vocational rehab services. And what the reason for this is there was a rate change through managed care. We match those rates. And so when we put the original contract in early summer, the rate hadn't changed. And so the rate changed in the new fiscal year. They've kind of spent based on the old rate up until now. So this remaining amount fully funds us through the rest of the fiscal year and reflects the new rate that exists for this service. And so we wanted to just make sure that we had enough funding through the rest of this fiscal year to support these services.
But in terms of the rate change, yes, but in terms of service delivery and the amount of units or amount of services, that is unchanged?
It's been unchanged, yes.
Okay,
It's been
all
still
right.
consistent with how we've spent in previous years.
Thank you, Natalie. Any questions
Sure.
or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to add the contract addendum with Skills, Inc. to next week's consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to welcome up Chad to discuss contract termination. Good morning, Chad.
Good morning. Today I have a contract notice for termination seeking approval with Iron Mountain Secure Shredding. Their contract ends April 1st, 2020. In accordance with the terms and condition, we need to give them a 30-day notice.
Okay. All right, 30-day notice, and then we'd have a few days to spare, so we're in good hands there. Any questions on this, comments? All right, will there be a motion?
Approve the notice of contract termination for Iron Mountain Secure Shredding.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded.
I just say
Yeah,
we will
please.
be coming
Yeah.
back to you with a new contract for a replacement shredding service since we provide on-site shredding to many of our locations. So
Yes,
that
in a
will
couple
be-
weeks
that
I'll
will be next.
present a new contract.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to welcome up Dale for some items from emergency communications. Good morning, Dale.
Good morning. I have before you two agreements that are related to each other. This has to do with backroom, backhaul mechanics to make 911 work. Each year, we have the opportunity to apply for grants from the PEMA, Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency, interconnectivity fund. So we did that, and we were awarded $97,551.91 for these back room items. I would ask that the board consider approving the agreement, accepting those funds so we can use them. And then the second thing is a contract with Mission Critical Partners for services to implement, monitor, do technical things to take some of these funds that we're being awarded to actually make them work and make the systems work. This is for $31,815. One thing I want to point out about that amount is that it's not just it's not coming out of that 97,000 totally, only 5,000 is coming out of that. We have projects ongoing for 2017, 18, and 19, which Mission Critical Partners has been helping us with, and their agreement that is before you is asking for funds for some of those years as well. So it's not just coming out of the $97,000. So I would ask that the board consider and approve these two agreements.
Okay, thank you, Dale. Any questions, comments?
Just want to thank your staff and all of our emergency responders during the fire last night at Hull Supermarket in Snowshoe. A very important institution up there, pillar of the community. Hopefully they'll be back and open again in the near future.
So Dale, in terms of that amount, it would be fair to say that if this grant money wasn't awarded to Center County, that we would have been using local money here in terms of property tax dollars here, but this grant allows us to offset those costs, and it helps to be less of a burden.
That's exactly true. If it didn't come from the grant, the money would have to come from general fund taxpayer dollars.
Just wanted to know that. Thanks as always for all the work on this, and I'll look for a motion.
Motion to add the grant agreement with Pima and the proposal from Mission Critical Partners to next week's consent agenda.
Second that.
All right. Before we go to the call the vote, any questions for Dale? Then, okay. Then, yeah.
We've been talking about the area near Julianne without the 911 service recently. Is that a rarity now in terms, or do you find in terms of how your office got involved in getting the folks hooked up with service?
That was an unusual event. The tower that services that area is on Skytop Mountain Road. AT&T sent technicians to that tower to upgrade it to 5G capability, and when they left there, they broke something, either connectivity, wiring, or the antenna placement. But whatever they did, the result was that they crippled that tower. So where folks on Silverdale Hollow Road normally have sufficient, they don't have 5 bars, but they have sufficient cell phone coverage to be able to call 911. As luck would have it, bad luck, one of the ladies that lived there needed 911 services, didn't have any service. So we contacted through the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency our contacts, and we were able to escalate that problem, and as a result of that, crews went back out to that tower site and restored service a few days later. Our staff tested that road, that area. We got a pretty good handle on where coverage was deficient. We reported that to AT&T, and they used that to, as a diagnostic tool, figure out what was going on. So as of today, coverage has been restored to where it should be for that area.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Dale.
Thanks, Dale.
Okay, we're going to welcome up Mike Bloom for this first item, and then for the next item, we'll then welcome up Denise at that time. So good morning, Mike.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 2 items before you today. The first is a memorandum of understanding between the county and the Center Regional Planning Agency. This is establishing the joint rights and responsibilities of each party associated with completing transportation planning and project development activities through the Center County Metropolitan Planning Organization. The county's contribution through this MPO is just a little over $131,000. I can tell you the breakout of that is primarily about 75% of that is contribution from the staff side. So myself, Ray Stalinas, and Ann Mesner, our senior transportation planner here within the county. The remainder is a cash match to the MPO through Center Region Planning Agency. So this is an annual event that we do, and on behalf of the Center Region Planning Agency, I extend their thanks and for your continued partnership and collaboration on this effort.
Thank you, Mike. And we just so happen to have an MPO coordinating committee meeting tonight, so that'll be nice to let them know that we're moving this down the field. So thank you, Mike. Would there be a motion?
Motion to add the MOU with Center Region Planning Agency to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. And at this time, we welcome up Denise Stika to discuss how we're doing with the Holt Memorial Library and HVAC. So, good morning, Denise.
Good morning. The reason I'm here is that we completed our final report for the Keystone Grant application and project award that replaced the HVAC system at our Holt Memorial Library. So because the Board of Commissioners was our municipal partner, we need to have a signature on that report so that we can submit it to the Department of Education and close out the project. I wanted to take just a minute to thank the Board of Commissioners for your contribution. It was a long road with a big hiccup in the middle of it, but thanks to the support of the commissioners, the support of the Phillipsburg Borough, and the support of the Holt Memorial Library Friends, we were able to come up with our match that exceeded what the project originally was going to cost, and we were able to complete it. I have heard nothing but wonderful comments from our library users because for so many, many years the heat had been very erratic. They absolutely love coming in and finding it to be warm. The staff enjoys coming in the morning and not having to worry about whether they're going to have heat that day or not. So we haven't had to use the air conditioner yet. But I know that Joseph Hazel, the contractor, should there be anything wrong, they will be right there. They were a wonderful partner to work with. So thank you.
That's great. Well, even though this is the final, it doesn't have to be a goodbye. Anytime you want to come to our meetings, please, and if there's ways that we can partner with you in the future, we look forward to doing that. You're right down the road here in Bellefonte as well, so we're excited. Yeah.
I was in Phillipsburg a couple of times last week. A lot of good things going on there. The library is very important. We now have Phillipsburg Revitalization Committee doing a lot of work there. I attended the opening of one of the openings of Shindig Alley, which is a very nice vintage clothing store and furniture store, just a block down from the library. So good things are happening in Phillipsburg now.
Opening up on that street.
Yeah.
Okay. And Mike, thanks for all your work on this to get it done.
Happy to
Appreciate
see
it.
this one done, and glad it was a good final result for the folks at the library. It's a great asset, and happy to be a part of it.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So with that, we look for a motion.
Motion to approve submission of the 2018 final financial summary to the Department of Education.
I will second it.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay.
Thank you.
Both of you, appreciate it. For today's consent agenda, we have two items. Motion to approve them.
Motion to approve today's consent agenda.
I will second it.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. And we will not have an administrative report today. Okay, no report. We do have some ABC items. For our Drug and Alcohol Planning Council, we have 5 reappointments, and these are for the terms of February 1st, 2020 to January 31st, 2023. We have the reappointment of Terry Loring, Kathy Madison, Deanne Patterson, Sandy Bajorski, and Cindy Sergion. And we would look to make the reappointments, to approve them.
Motion to approve the ABC reappointments.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. And then over to Commissioner Higgins for the check.
We have a check run in the amount of $1,104,198.17, which I think is just within a few $1,000s of what the check run was last week. Still a little bit below average. This week, I'm highlighting a series of checks that are probably our largest grouping. It's to the Center County Youth Service Bureau for $172,523.69. It's quarterly payments for early intervention for children 3 and under, another series of quarterly payments for mental health to a variety of programs, and then funding for reuniting families, assisting with mental health services and placement for foster children. So I would like to make the motion to approve the check run dated February 21st.
We'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the check run. Any further discussion on the check run? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. And then our voter registration report.
Okay, we have one today. It is my pleasure to announce we have 109,237 registered voters in Center County this morning. There are 46,131 Democratic registrants, 154 Green Party, 669 Libertarian, 14,620 no affiliation, and 42,886 Republican voters, which leaves all others at 4,777. That's up 61 voters from last report. The feature party today is the American Solidarity Party. And the Solidarity Party in America today has one registrant in Center County. So they're
You
very
don't have solidarity when there's
They
only
are-
one of you.
They are very solid. And that brings me to the precinct report for today, which is precinct number 64, which is Patton North 1, votes at the Patton Township Building. And in the last registration, or the last election, the registration totaled 2,589 registered voters. There were 720 ballots cast, which led to a voter turnout percentage of 27.81%. So, again, we want to thank the folks at Patton Township to allow us the opportunity to use their facility. But we also want to thank the folks that really make it happen. And there's quite an extensive list of poll workers here. The judge of elections at Precinct 64 is Gerald McGinnis. The minority inspector is Carol Ulrich. The majority inspector is Kenneth Willard. The clerks include Robert Urian Jr., Deborah Willard, Margaret McGinnis, Susan Urian, Tina Kimmel, and it continues to Delilah Ledesma, Carol Lee Grillo, Dakota Featherer, Skylar Ridnour, Anthony Grillo, and Kenneth Healy Jr. So we want to thank them for the opportunity to help us out as well, and look forward to probably re-engaging them in just about a little less than 2 months.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. Any announcements you'd like to make? Any executive sessions to report?
Yes, the Board of Commissioners met in executive session on Thursday, February 20th, from 11 a.m. to 11:30. And we also need to meet in an executive session to recess this executive session.
Thank you, Margaret. We have the balance of our schedule on the agenda. Any questions from the press before we go into executive session?
There's already talk out of Harrisburg about changing the state law for the new application process for mail-in ballots. Are you following closely in terms of what's going on here, in terms of how many applications Center County's getting, that type of thing?
It's very low at this point. The advertising and press that we're going to be trying to do to raise awareness is going to be occurring as we get into March and April. It sounds like what they're looking at doing is, for the November election, they will allow election offices to begin to open up the absentee and mail-in ballots that are received but not counted. And so the hope would be that it'd be processed, that you get the results sooner. But there's still some, I think we agree, technical and security issues of how they implement that. So they're just looking at giving some relief to that. So we'll wait and see. Okay. All right. We'd look for a motion then to go into executive session.
Motion to go into executive session at 10:28.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you all very much.